Bonjour, everybody. This is Tiggy Maximus with Tiggy Maximus Talks, episode 66 on YouTube. This is a special episode. I am actually going to tell you guys who I'm picking in every first round matchup in the NCAA basketball tournament. The tournament does start Thursday at 9:15 a.m. So hopefully you guys have made your brackets, but I'm going to tell you what I'm going to pick. Let's start with the South region. Number 1 seed Alabama will be playing against 16 seeded Texas A&M Corpus Christi. That was an easy one for me. I'm picking Alabama. Next game we got, it's the 8-seeded Maryland going against the 9-seeded West Virginia. That was a tough one for me, but I am leaning towards West Virginia to win this one. Next up is one of my favorites, the 5-seeded San Diego State Aztecs. Woohoo! They're going up against Charleston. As a 12 seed, of course, I'm picking SDSU to win this one. They should win, but if they go cold, but their defense holds up, it's going to be kind of a dicey situation for the Aztecs. So hopefully the Aztecs can keep a consistent pace of scoring while they have a great defense to go with it. So hopefully SDSU would eventually meet Alabama in the second weekend, so that would be something. I don't know if Alabama and SDSU have ever faced each other in any sport, but for it to be the NCAA tournament, the big dance, that would be something. I'll totally watch that. Next up, we have 4-seeded Virginia going against 13-seeded Furman. This one is potentially an upset pick, but I think Virginia is going to pull it out and beat Furman. Next up, another potential big upset. You have 6-seed Creighton going against the 11-seeded NC State. I'll pick the 6-seeded Creighton to win this one. Next up, we have the 3-seeded Baylor going against 14-seeded UC Santa Barbara. I'm picking Baylor to win this one. Don't think it'll be an upset. So next up, we have a 7-seeded Missouri going against 10-seeded Utah State. I have the feeling that the only team winning out of the Mountain West is going to be St. Louis State, so I'm not going to pick Utah State in this one. I am picking Missouri to beat Utah State. And then the number 2-seeded Arizona are going up against the 15-seeded Princeton. I have a good feeling that Arizona will take care of business and beat Princeton. So those are my picks for the South region. So, if those picks go pretty well, most of them pretty much well. So we're gonna stick with the South region. I'm thinking that Alabama is going to beat West Virginia. That I have a good feeling. Now, when SDSU does play 4-seeded Virginia, that one would be a tough one because both teams like to play defense, and Virginia's offense can be a little slow like SDSU's offense, so quite possibly they might be evenly matched. But given that Virginia is in a more competitive, supposedly, conference than the Aztecs in the Mountain West, I think SDSU might actually pull out the victory. Be very close. The game might be less than 3 points. So, I did pick 6-seeded Creighton to face 3-seeded Baylor. I'm picking 3-seeded Baylor to win this one. And I'm picking the number 2 seed Arizona to beat the number 7 seed Missouri. So that means in the Sweet 16, I have number 1 seed Alabama going against the number 5 seed SDSU. And I have the number 2 seed Arizona going against the 3 seeded Baylor. So my thought is Alabama will beat SDSU to reach the Elite 8. And I'm picking Arizona to beat 3-seeded Baylor to reach the Elite 8. So in the South Regional Final, I do have number 1 seed Alabama facing number 2 seed Arizona. And who I'm picking to win the South? I'm picking Arizona, the number 2 seed, to win the South, beating number 1 seed Alabama, who just so happened to be the number 1 team, the overall in this NCAA tournament. So there you have it, guys. Those are my picks for the South region from beginning to end. So hopefully you guys have fun with those picks, and yeah, we'll see what happens next. Alright, guys, let's move on to the East region. I'm picking basically number 1 seed Purdue to beat whoever the number 16 seed is. That's a playing game. Let's see. I don't see it. Okay. Anywho, but whoever it is, Purdue will beat whoever the number 16 seed is. So, I think it's Fairfield Dickinson playing or something. So, anywho, Purdue will win no matter what. Next up, we have the 8-seeded Memphis going against number 9 seed Florida Atlantic. Oh, man. That was a tough one. I mean, it's a coin flip. 8 versus 9. I am picking Florida Atlantic to beat Memphis. Next up, we have the 5-seeded Duke, one of my favorite teams, going against the 12-seeded Oral Roberts. That one should be an easy one for me. I'm picking Duke to beat Oral Roberts, but I am not taking Oral Roberts lightly. I think Oral Roberts did pretty well in their conference, not only in the regular season, but the conference tournament too, so they are kind of dangerous. But Duke should win. Duke is on a hot streak the last couple months, so. Next up, we have the 4-seeded Tennessee going against the 13-seeded. I guess it's Louisiana Lafayette, the Raging Cajuns. That one's easy for me. I'm picking the 4-seeded Tennessee. They've been doing pretty well most of the season. Next up, we have the 6-seeded Kentucky going against the 11-seed Providence. Whew. That will be a tough one, but I think I am leaning towards Kentucky to win this one. Next up, we have Kansas State, the 3-seed, going against 14-seeded Montana State. I'm picking Kansas State to win this one. I like Kansas State. They play in a very tough Big 12. Next up, we have a 7-seeded Michigan State playing against a 10-seeded USC. That one, let's say 7-seeded Michigan State will win. And then we got the 2-seed Marquette going up against the 15-seeded Vermont. Picking the 2-seed Marquette to win this one. Um, so let's predict the second round. So I got Purdue, number 1 seed, playing against the number 9 seed, Florida Atlantic. I'm picking Purdue to win. I did pick the 5 seed Duke, going up against the 4 seed Tennessee. I'm picking the 5 seed Duke in this one. I did pick the 6 seeded Kentucky to face the 3 seeded Kansas State. I'm picking Kansas State to win this one. I picked the 7 seeded Michigan State, and they're playing against the 2 seed Marquette, and I'm picking Marquette, the number 2 seed, to win. So that means I have the number 1 seed Purdue facing the number 5 seed Duke in the Sweet 16, and I'm picking Duke to upset the number 1 seed Purdue in the bracket. And I am picking the number 2 seeded Marquette to beat Kansas State. So that means in the regional final of the East bracket, I have the 5 seed Duke playing against number 2 seed Marquette, and I am picking the number 5 seed, the Duke Blue Devils, to win the East region. So have fun with those picks. See what happens. Next up, we have the Midwest region. We got the number 1 seed, and pretty much been staying in the top 5 almost all year, Houston. They're playing the 16 seeded North Kentucky. I'm picking Houston to win that one. Next up, we have the 8 seeded Iowa playing against the number 9 seed Auburn. I'm picking Iowa to win this one. Next up, we have the 5 seeded Miami. Miami of Florida playing against the 12 seeded Drake. This one is kind of primed for a upset, and you know what? I am picking Drake to beat Miami. Initially, I was thinking Miami would win, but Drake might actually pull off the big 12-5 upset. So next up, we have 4 seeded Indiana going against the 13 seeded Kansas State. I'm picking Indiana to win this one. Next up, we have a 6 seeded Iowa State playing against the 11 seed Pittsburgh. I'm picking Iowa State to win that one. Next up, we have the 3 seeded Xavier going against the 14 seeded Kennesaw State. I'm picking Xavier to win that one. Next up, we have the 7 seeded Texas A&M. They're playing the 10 seeded Penn State, and I'm picking the 10 seeded Penn State to win this one. And the number 2 seed Texas playing against the 15 seeded Colgate. I'm picking Texas to win that one. So in the second round, I do have number 1 seed Houston playing against the number 8 seed Iowa. I'm picking Houston to win that one. I did pick the 12 seeded Drake to play against the 4 seeded Indiana. I am picking the 4 seeded Indiana to win that one. 6 seed Iowa State playing against the 3 seeded Xavier. I'm picking Xavier to win that one. And then so 10 seeded Penn State is playing the number 2 seed Texas. I am picking Texas to win that game. So in the Sweet 16 of the West region, I have Houston playing Indiana. I am picking the number 1 seed Houston to beat number 4 seed Indiana. And I am picking the number 3 seed Xavier to beat the number 2 seed Texas. So that means in the Midwest regional final, I have the number 1 seed Houston playing the number 3 seed Xavier. I picked the number 1 seed Houston to win. the Midwest region. So, and then finally, the West region. Number 1 seed Kansas playing the 16 seeded Howard. I am picking Kansas to win that one. Next up, we have the 8 seeded Arkansas going against the number 9 seed Illinois. I'm picking the 8 seed Arkansas to win this one. Next up, we have the number 5 seed St. Mary's going against the 12 seeded VCU, Virginia Commonwealth. That one's going to be a good one. That's a bracket buster in itself. But I'm picking St. Mary's to win. Next up, we have the 4 seeded Connecticut going against the 13 seed Iona. I'm picking Connecticut to win that one. Next up, we have the 6 seed TCU, Texas Christian, going against the winner of the 11 seed playing game between Arizona State and Nevada. I'm assuming Arizona State's going to win that one, so I'm picking TCU to beat Arizona State. Next up, we have the 3 seed Gonzaga going up against the 14 seeded Grand Canyon. I'm picking Gonzaga to win that one. Next up, we have the 7 seeded Northwestern playing the 10 seeded Boise State. I would like to pick Boise State in this one, but I have a feeling Northwestern is going to win. I think Northwestern was like the second best team in the Big Ten. So, yeah. And then number 2 seed UCLA will be playing the 15 seeded UNC Asheville. I am picking UCLA to win that one. In the second round, number 1 seed Kansas playing against the 8 seed Arkansas. I am picking number 1 seed Kansas to win. Between the 4 seed UConn, Connecticut, and the 5 seed St. Mary's, I am picking Connecticut to win. Between the 3 seed Gonzaga and the 6 seed TCU, I am picking Gonzaga to beat TCU. With the 2 seed UCLA and the 7 seed in Northwestern, I'm picking UCLA to win that one. So in the West Sweet 16 round, I have number 1 seed Kansas playing the 4 seeded Connecticut. I'm picking Kansas to win. And then I have the 3 seed Gonzaga playing the number 2 seed UCLA, and I am picking the 2 seeded UCLA to beat Gonzaga. So that takes me to the regional final of the West, and I am picking the 2 seed UCLA to beat the number 1 seed Kansas. So that means my final 4 is going to be the 2 seed of the South, Arizona. The 5 seed of the East is Duke. The number 1 seed in the Midwest, Houston, and I'm picking the 2 seed in the West is UCLA. Those are my final 4. So with the final 4, so I have to think about this. Tough matchup between Arizona and Duke. You know what? I am picking Duke to beat Arizona. And in the other Final 4, Houston versus UCLA. I'm picking UCLA to win. So then my final for the NCAA basketball tournament, Duke versus UCLA, and I am picking Duke to beat UCLA, and Duke will win the 2023 NCAA basketball tournament, and we'll raise another championship banner and go Duke Blue Devils. All right, guys. That's all I want to talk about for the NCAA tournament. I'm going to try to fill out some more brackets if I can, get some more people to join me. $5 for my bracket group. Also, one more thing. The Lakers beat the Pelicans today 123-108. So, Lakers are back to winning again, and they're in the midst of the, I guess you could say, the race for the 5 seed, 6 seed, 7 seed, 8 seed, and 9 seed, and 10 seed. So, should be fun. The Aztecs are playing Thursday at 12 o'clock, and Duke Blue Devils are playing at 4 o'clock on Thursday. So, what's even cooler is that there's an XFL Thursday night game going on between the Houston Roughnecks and the Seattle Sea Dragons. So, a lot of sports on Thursday to watch, and I get to go to a comedy show with Mark Christopher Lawrence, who is from Chuck, my favorite show of all time. So, should be a fun second half of the week. So, well, guys, make your brackets, follow the picks, watch the games, be safe, have a lot of fun, watch it with friends, or if you want to watch it in silence, do so. Anywho, have a rest of a good weekend, and UFC 286 is this Saturday, and enjoy yourself, guys. All right, this is Tiggy Maximus signing off, and talk to you guys later. Booyaka!